What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Because of Sales podcast. Pretty short one today. We both had some meetings to get into, but we did cover the biggest surprise for a new sales leader, someone who might be going from individual contributor like a closer AE to sales management, our personal experience and the experience of others. We covered the math and the ROI potential behind investing in a quality Zoom setup, whether you're working remote or you're interviewing remote or you're closing deals remote, like it doesn't matter. There is some math behind it and you can very easily ROI if you're serious about sales. Then we talked a little bit about enterprise sales. Jake shares some experience from his buddies who are going through that right now. Is it worth it? Are there better options? You'll hear that in this podcast. And then we speak about the college degree equivalent for sales pros. They're in certain more corporate fields. A college on your resume, a certain degree is basically enough to get you hired, regardless of what you've done. We talk about what those things are for sales reps. Before we get into this podcast, you guys, please go down below to that first link in the description. Subscribe to our free newsletter. If you like the podcast, we basically pull together everything in the podcast and more on a weekly basis and send it straight to your inbox 100% free. So if you're a salesperson, our goal is to give you an updated weekly pulse on the state of selling so you are in the loop with everything that's going on. You're not left behind. You can stay cutting edge when it comes to sales. So go down below, first link in the description, subscribe, and now let's get into the pod.
Sellers, what's happening? Happy Friday. Well, it's Friday for us. When do we publish these? Wednesday? Thursday? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you, sellers. First thing I want to talk about is kind of the new sales leader biggest surprise. So you and I have both made the transition from individual contributor to managing some folks. And that transition sounds sexy. Almost everyone wants it. And then they get in that seat and they realize, wait a minute, this isn't what I was promised. What was your biggest surprise? And what do you wish someone had told you and warned you about before making the switch to management?
How different of a skill leadership actually was. Like, sure, if you're good with a spreadsheet, you can get the numbers and let the team know if they're doing well or not doing well. But even to this day, like when I was in management, I was more on like the operations side. And I feel like I still have a lot to unlock in terms of leadership because it's like a thing that people spend a lot of time and energy to get better at. So I think that's probably it. Was it similar for you?
Yes. And I also realized the first comment that I pulled this post from was I realized how dumb everyone was. There's some of that, but also it's a weird paradox where I don't think you can actually manage people to be like really move the needle to move someone into being a good seller. Management really is just taking care of your winners and letting them win and like mitigating the total downside destruction that your bottom performers can do. I didn't realize that's what it was like, what an organization performed like across the board.
Yeah, I guess that's another thing too, man. I've definitely hit my head against the wall. I'm not in a sales management role right now. I was a little bit more previously. I manage people and like businesses. I technically am managing salespeople now, but as a business owner. And you have to realize not everybody's going to think like you, make decisions like you, sell like you, a lot of things. And you think it's common sense. There's a saying around common sense not being common sometimes, but it's pretty frustrating sometimes, man, if you don't have the right people in place. And it's not even about not having the right people. It's like if you have the wrong people in place, you'll tell them the same shit over and over and over and they don't change. Yeah, it's not for the weak, for sure.
Not for the weak. And if you're out there, if you're doing crushing it as an IC, think again, man. There's a lot of people that have ping-ponged in between IC into management and back into IC for that exact reason. You realize it's not sexy. The comp plan may be different. It sounds nice not having to be on a lot of calls, but pros and cons there. Be wary. You've got the math and ROI behind investing in a good Zoom setup. I saw your post this week for everyone. Go follow Serial Sales everywhere. Tell me about this.
Yeah, it's not the best episode to be talking about this because I'm not in front of my setup right now. But for any of you guys listening that are trying to get a sales role, maybe it's a remote one, maybe it's not. This honestly applies to any role where you have to go through an interview process and you do so from home. The quick math behind investing into a good setup, meaning primarily a camera and a lens or a 4K webcam, good lighting, which again, right now I don't have because we just run a chill little podcast here, and camera, lens, lighting, background, and you can kind of like put something nice together. I'm not talking like the little $20 Amazon light, ring light, whatever. I'm talking like an actual nice setup where it's like, hey, this is kind of a lot of money, about $1,500 or so bucks. Mine's a little bit more than that, but you can get it done for 1500. And like the way that that just makes your career so much easier, like it makes it so much easier to land the job. And then once you're in the job, it makes it so much easier for you to sell, earn more commission, just because there's this like authority thing here. I was talking about something I made recently about this guy who's in our community. His name is Zion. He has like a YouTube background. And so he has like a really nice setup. Like he's got an actual camera, a lens, great, background, lighting, everything. He looks like a YouTuber, right? And that dude, he's good at sales, but his hit rate from like maybe an introduction video to an interview to, I guess, then going from interview to offer, like it's incredibly high. And he was able to like unlock a really good earning consistent through just like cutting through the noise basically and looking the part. So I think that's something that can carry people, because above sales ability, it's all about perception. Like these people are seeing you and they're hearing you. The microphone, that's the other thing. And background light is easy, but they're seeing you and hearing you. And they're like, within a split second, they're like, do I want my company to be perceived in the way that I am perceiving this person? They're going to be the first representation of my company. So I think if you're committed to sales, man, like drop in $1,000, $2,000 to make sure that when you get on camera, before you even open up your mouth, you're immediately in the big leagues. Extremely high ROI. I don't know why more people aren't doing it.
What do you think keeps them from doing it?
A lot of salespeople think they're just like going to get where they want to be. And sometimes they do, but they're going to get where they want to be just by being good at sales. I mean, I don't know the exact stats around this, but a lot of different businesses will specifically hire female employees just for the fact that they're not a man, right? And it's like, yeah, old school, like dentist, right? Like they will intentionally hire a nice female employee to work the desk and charge all the money because they're a little bit harder to like get mad at or something. I don't know, right? So like before we're even assessing their ability to do the job well, it's like, do I want them at my front desk? Do I want them representing the company? And yeah, I think people like to think that their sales ability is going to do all of the heavy, it will do the heavy lifting, but like make the load a little lighter, get a good setup.
Dude, I'm a big believer in this. I am increasingly adding direct reports under me. And more importantly, I am on video a lot. I'm probably on 3 hours of calls per day on video. And then I'm a power user of Loom. They tell me every year, like there's a Spotify Wrapped, there's a Loom Wrapped. I'm top 1%. And it's probably anywhere between 20 and 50 Loom videos per week. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm almost getting disgusted at my current background. Now I've seen yours and I'm like, from where I'm at now to what it would look like to have the cracked setup is not that large comparatively. And I think it would just give me more authority, not that I need it, but it would help, and more, gravitas to what I'm saying, not that I need it, but it would help. I'm like, this stuff would move the needle. And then for self-confidence, like, look good, feel good, play good, you would want to show up as your best as a leader within any company if you were working in person. So what's the analogy in remote work? It's kind of like your only perception is what happens within this box. You've pilled me, you've set up pilled me, and I'm going to cut the check.
Yeah, if we had like 100 more average viewers, I'd probably be using it right now. But we're mostly audio based here. It's so worth it, man. Like all the things that you mentioned. And this is why in our community, we focus a lot on resume building because we help people get remote sales jobs. But we focus a lot on that because if I have 2 resumes up, I'm not even looking at the sales experience, but I pull one up and one of them pisses me off. And one of them is like, wow, this looks good. And then I start reading like, dude, you're completely being perceived in a good way or a bad way. It's the same thing with the video. It's the same thing on interviews. It's the same thing on sales calls. So I think it just gives you a lot more room for error, to be honest. Like if you show up and you look badass, you actually have to fumble the rest of the interview or fumble the rest of the sale to not get the outcome you were wanting versus like digging out of a hole. There's nothing worse than having a prospect or having a interviewer that jumps on and they just set up mog you, they're just like superior. And it's like you're trying to prove yourself. That's not good.
True. I love this. For everybody out there, we've got a resource that can help out. I've got here enterprise overrated. We arrive at this conversation probably a couple of times a year. Happens a lot in sales. And the natural conversation of I'm crushing my role, but what's out there? What's better? How do I make more money? How do I get past this perceived earning ceiling I can't have now? And the answer is always enterprise. And it frustrates me, man, because we have a lot of perspective on what it would look like to level up as a salesperson outside of just enterprise sales. What's your take on this when everyone says this?
In terms of like just making more money?
Yeah, or like even more so, like what's the best industry to sell in? And everyone's like, oh, enterprise, because the comp plan, like the deals are bigger. I don't know. I'm not a big buyer on that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what I think, depends what their motives are. Like we mentioned on a past podcast, like managing people whose number one priority is making a ton of money. Like it's pretty interesting the first time you come around that. But enterprise is also like, dude, there's just such a big moat to get into that. Like you gotta be in whatever industry you're in for usually a long time. So, I mean, I'm biased because I went into business ownership and I think sales is just a high paid internship to do that. But yeah, I also don't have the perspective of having sold enterprise before. Like I've sold big deals and like had B2B services that like pretty crazy stat. One B2B deal that we closed, did some in-person, some Zoom meetings, multiple, like months and months of chasing it down, turned out to be like 8 figures in revenue for the company that we closed it for, like my company. So I just don't have the perspective of selling enterprise though.
That's where I land, man. It's just overrated. There's other stuff to sell too. Like, I don't know, within any sales organization in corporate, it's like, oh, I want to go work on the enterprise team because it's bigger deals. And like what the actual job is just managing 20 to 30 different conversations with individual people. And then you have one meeting with the actual decision maker that can make or break the deal. And you're 3 months in and that deal goes poorly and you're in the trenches for another 3 months. I have a good buddy that does this and his year is made by one or two conversations. I don't know, man.
Do you think it's overrated if they're making like 7 figures a year?
There's a number. There is a price at a certain commission level, but it is a different game. A lot of it is not selling. A lot of it is being a diplomat, which for some people they love. And the boomers are great at being diplomats, man.
It's similar to with the type of sales roles that we help people land. It's like the real alpha is not in just your ability to objection handle. The real alpha is in like your ability to get in talks with the good companies. And I
Mhm.
think on the enterprise side, the real alpha is your ability to play that game that you were just talking about. It's not sheer sales ability, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Same with like going from sales rep to manager. It's just a different game. Same fundamental skill set and understandings. You just put it into a different vehicle. I mean, obviously the outcome can be good if you do well, but it seems pretty high stakes, man. Couple of conversations are the difference between you making 150 on the year and 800 grand or something, you
Legit.
know?
Legit. Yeah. I have personal friends that work in big publicly traded companies doing enterprise, and it really like your entire year is that. It's like you got the 150 coming in through either your base or recurring deals from the past. Your quota is like what you're if you hit quota, you'd make six, and it comes down to two 1 hour conversations. Those meetings actually happen. You'd
Yeah.
be shocked at how many meetings, all this build up, we put it on a calendar 3 weeks in advance. He's going to be traveling. They're going to come back. And it never happens because something internal changes. Or, man, if that person leaves and you're screwed, then your entire deal, it's not even like the deal with the company. It's like the deal won't even ever work because that person that was your champion, quote unquote, is now gone. Not for me, not for the faint at heart. That's for sure.
All right, guys, quick break in the podcast for our sponsor, the Serial Sales Community. We talk about it a little bit in this episode, but if you are in the world of 1099 remote sales jobs, working from home, selling inbound leads, not paying for the leads yourself, not being some licensed person in some pyramid scheme thing that you're going to fizzle out of. We just help people sell for internet-based companies, coaching, consulting, agencies. These people have more demand than they know what to do with. Their highest and best use of time isn't taking sales calls. It's working on the product that they're selling and scaling the business. And so we jump in, take those sales calls. If you're a sales rep or you're looking to be a sales rep for a company like that, go down below the second link in the description. You can find more information, what we do and how it works there. Been doing it for about 4 years now. We're pretty good. We can probably help you out if you're in that situation. So second link in the description. Now let's get back into the pod. I saw something on Reddit recently. This guy, the title was like, "How screwed am I? Enterprise AE or whatever." And he was basically describing how like his 2 or 3 deals that he had working where they fell through, didn't have pipeline in place. Here's my quota, my timelines, whatever. And everyone's like, yeah, you're screwed. Like you're not hitting your targets. Also, something that I found really interesting, kind of a side tangent. My YouTube feed has been recommending me a lot of like CIA content. In
Okay.
terms of like what it takes to become like a spy, basically. And they go through this training. I don't know how well known this is, but they go through this very specific training to learn how to basically recruit people, which is where they go into like foreign government, get close to people, start hanging out, maybe have some fun, make their families friends. And they like have these acronyms that they use to like basically step by step, like go from cold person in a foreign government that we want on our team to being able to get documents and get information and like influence decisions in foreign governments. And I just, again, side tangent, but a lot of that was kind of speaking to me in a sales context. Like
Man,
how you can go and go into these companies. And this is what the enterprise game is, right? Like it's very strategic, and a lot of the work that you're doing it's not even with the prospects or who you want. It's like internally or game planning, right? Anyways, it's a skill, dude, because like these CIA people, they go, I don't know if it was for like 18 months to somewhere in Virginia, and they take them through all these like, I would love to go through this training, but all these things to become like super influential and observant and spies, basically. I feel like there's some crossover there with the enterprise seller and the CIA agent.
dude, we've talked about it before, but like if you're not doing this to run deals, you're not running a deal. First of all, you got to get on that basis. Second of all, business idea that either we take advantage of or this is free for anybody, any sellers out there for a side hustle. We have puzzle rooms. What are those called? Escape rooms. I want a 2-hour exercise where we have to simulate infiltrating a foreign government. Like walk me through this. I want 3 buddies, some beverages, and we have to go topple a regime. Let's do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's funny.
You've got a college equivalent for sales pros. Tell me about this.
So in some corporate roles, some of them sales and some others, you can get really far just by having a certain university on your resume. You can get an interview, you can get hired for going to certain schools, regardless of your skill set or experience. Sure, it's taken into consideration, but like sometimes that is literally enough to get you hired. And I wanted to ask you, and we can kind of go back and forth on it, like, what is that for salespeople? Assume it's not the college, the Harvard, the Stanford, whatever might be. But like if you're looking at salespeople for, let's just say like a closer account executive style role, or maybe SDR setter, what like pops out on a resume that can like really move the needle forward before you really start to deep dive on their sales ability? Is there anything that comes to mind?
2 things always, and this has been the case for a couple of years now, and even more so every single day: door to door or athlete. If both, hire immediately.
Yeah, I see it. Pretty much the same. I think sometimes there's this thing going around right now with all the sales trainers where they have these certifications and stuff. Most of them don't mean anything.
Yep, that's
But
what I'm laughing.
I like to see that they're a believer in pushing themselves forward and investing their time and energy into learning, because like there are some colleges that have sales degrees, but they're usually not very useful, to be honest. Like sure, it'll put you like a percent or two ahead of the next guy, but I think, going through some big name sales trainings is, if you have a good selection of those, I think it can help kind of nudge you in the right direction. I think also the door-to-door thing. Now, the door-to-door thing, if you have good results versus not having good results, I think it makes a big difference. Like if someone comes and they killed door-to-door, they were like top rep out of 50, made this much money, they like genuinely killed it, then that is like a huge plus. I'm trying to think of some other things. I had a guy recently that we're working with in our community. He came in with like really deep Boy Scout, Eagle Scout type stuff. Like he was doing it for a long time, had all the awards, what do you think about that? Does that have any positive or negative?
I've never really interfaced with anybody that has that background, but it reminds me of something like being in the military or some sort of fellowship. Like I've hired people that did like Peace Corps and like TFA, Teach for America, like just like rigor for status's sake, almost
Mhm.
in a good positive way. I think that's meaningful. It's commitment, right?
I think it's a net positive for sure. I don't think it's going to be enough to get you hired unless the hiring manager is a former Eagle Scout or whatever. But like just thinking about the stuff that these people, like these scouts, we'll call them, are doing. They're going out, making shit happen, going into the woods, making their own food, catching it, building shelters. They're like doing things that require you to have the same traits of like an athlete or someone in the military. Hopefully nobody takes any offense to this, but
Yeah,
just like
please.
like it teaches like accountability. It teaches problem solving. It teaches all the same underlying stuff. Anyways, he had a ton of that, not so much sales experience. So we were trying to figure out a way to leverage that. I could see if positioned right, that could be good, especially if you have awards or something.
Yeah.
Door to door, military is one of those.
Ooh, I've got one too. I've hired one person that was in fraternity leadership in college. They
Yeah.
were president or vice president or something. I was like, kind of the same thing. By no
Yeah.
means, again, am I conflating military service to being a chief beer drinker at Kennesaw State or wherever. But it does matter, like leadership and accountability, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, translates.
It's the like intangibles, the soft skills
Mhm.
that tend to make the best sales reps. Like, dude, if you're running a good sales organization, you should have the infrastructure to train a competent person on how to sell your product. It's the stuff like catching a fish in the lake and frying it on a fire that you made and then sleeping in your tent. Like you can't teach that kind of
Yeah. Yeah, go hit the phones, kid, you know?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Military athletes, sales training, door to door, maybe some Boy Scouts. I agree with the frat leader thing. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say like music, like if they've done music at a high level,
Mm,
but I don't know, dude. Creatives can be kind of hit or miss.
yeah, it's barbelled. Either they're killer salespeople or just stick to creative.
I don't know. There's probably some more out there, but this is like all things that people will take note of. And you pair this with a good setup. Dude, if you were 10-year military vet and you got a baller setup, it's like, yeah, this is the guy that's like,
Let's take that risk every day.
yeah, right. Before you even figure out if you sold this before. Hard part for that person is getting on the interview to begin with, which having the setup helps you do that, having connections, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's definitely unspoken things, man, that help you get into opportunities that people with more experience want. And they're more top of funnel, which means they influence the rest of the decision-making process. If you can just do those things well, like your chances are way higher.
Yep. Hey, Dylan, what if someone wanted kind of some help on how to get some more interviews? Where would they go?
We help with that. We go down to the second link in the description. That's what we do.
Love it. Cool. Short pod today. That's all we got, sellers. Anything else?
I think that's it. We'll end it there.
Awesome. See y'all.
Later. All right, team. Thanks for tuning into this podcast. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, drop us a subscribe, drop us a comment. Let us know how you're feeling. If you want to see more like this, if you want to see more that's different from this, we make these podcasts for you, the seller. If you ever want to see certain content, just let us know and we'll start making it. So we appreciate you guys watching. Before we get out of here, please go down below, subscribe to the first link in the description. That's our newsletter. If you like the podcast, you'll love the newsletter. All of this in a written format, plus more, keep you up to date with what's working for salespeople now. So go down below. It's free. Subscribe, first link in the description, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening.